Hello everyone, this is Swati Shastri taking a session on user interface design, and we are going to deal with the fourth module today again. So in the previous classes we have seen about windows, how the window is organized, uh, how many kinds of windows can be there, whether the whether the windows can be opened in more numbers. So we should usually have a number of windows which is really very less. We have seen some window operations, that is, we can keep our window really active, like the window which is above is considered as active. We have seen the guidelines of how the window must be kept active, how to open a window. We have seen what should be the size of the window when it is opened first and when it is reopened, so at the different time. And we have also seen that where the window must be placed, like when it is opened first as well as when it is maximized, like you have minimized it and you have again maximized that we have seen. And we have also seen how to separate one window from the other window. We have seen that how a window must be moved around. We have also seen about resizing the window, and we have also seen the operations of our keyboard on the window, how to close a window we have seen. And when we come to the web systems, that is websites or something, what will be a window and what should be the size of the window, whether the pop-ups must be there or not. So all those things we have learned in the previous classes, correct? So today we are going to start with a new thing that is called as device based characteristics. So what should a device based control should have is what we are learning now. Device based control, in the sense, you have a device and you're trying to control the window. That is what is your necessity. Okay, so this is a part of Windows itself. Whatever working you're going to have from the device, that thing is implied onto the Windows itself. It is not outside the window. So that is a reason that we say that device based controls are a part of Windows itself. So we are going to start with this today, and we'll see few characteristics of different devices present in our system, in the graphical user system, which are already present. This is not a field of like you can change according to your necessity, nothing of that sort is there. So devices are readily available, you just have to use that particular device. So today we are going to see about the characteristics of four devices, how the device based control can be implemented, when it should be implemented, whether it has an advantage or whether it is filled with the disadvantages. We'll see that. So we'll be seeing the four controls. The four controls are trackball, joystick, graphic table, and touchscreen. Okay, so we'll be seeing these four devices. Let's start with the characteristics of it. When we say a device based control, so there are specific tasks that are to be performed using these devices onto your graphical systems. What is the first task is that it should be capable of pointing at an object on the screen. So we are using this device for the sake of pointing. Like you can see the pointer on my screen that is moving. So this is one of the task that should be present in the graphical system. Okay, next task is to select the object or identify it as the focus of attention. So the next thing or the next task that it has to do is that this particular mouse must be capable of, not just mouse, any pointing device, be it a keyboard only, it should be capable of selecting any object also, and it should be capable of identifying it, focusing its attention on that. All those things must be possible by that. Third task that it has is it should be capable to drag an object across the screen. So you should be capable of dragging it all around the screen. Fourth point is, if you want to see the dragging, I mean to say is that if you consider the PowerPoint, so it is moving around all around. So that is what is important, correct? Next thing is, it should draw something free from form on the screen. So if you are making use of a paint, so you are capable of drawing that paint very easily, right? So that thing must be, it should be capable of. For example, if we just take a writer over here, and if I just write it, it is capable of writing, correct? So it should be capable of doing that. Only then we can tell it as a pointing device, okay, or any device. So next is to track or follow a moving object. So if there is some object moving, if I want to track it or follow it, then I should be capable doing that, okay. Next point is to orient or position an object. It should be capable of orienting and positioning an object. It should keep an object somewhere. It should select it and go and keep it somewhere. So that thing it should be capable of doing. Last thing that it should be capable of doing is to enter or manipulate data or information. It should be capable of manipulating any data or information. So we'll see different devices that can perform these things. Before going to the types of devices available, let us concentrate on some things. Whatever you want to have, it can be considered or reviewed under two kind of factors. First factor is whether the mechanism is direct or whether it is indirect. I mean, like the pointing device that you have, whether you have a direct pointing device or an indirect pointing device. Now, what is the meaning of direct pointing devices? They are like you are directly trying to operate on the screen. For example, if you have a light pen, that is called as your laser pens that you call. So those pens, you use it for pointing or something, or a finger you try and use, a voice you give saying that this is the location to see. So this is called as direct pointing devices. So whenever you think about direct pointing devices, it is really not feasible for us to have it in the graphical user interface, apart from some touch screen and all. So this is the physical movement that can be shown, that is called as a direct devices. When you come to indirect devices, they are the devices that are operated in the location other than the screen, but most often on the desktop. So when you consider this mouse as your pointing device, so this is actually, we are moving it outside, we are not touching our screen. So it is not moving on the screen, it is actually moving on the desktop, that is the software part of it. So that they are called as indirect pointing devices. So examples for them are mouse, you can have a trackball, or it can be a keyboard. So keyboard is also considered as a pointing device only. So first thing is that we have to decide whether we are going for a direct pointing device or whether we are going for an indirect pointing device. So whenever you are going for any kind of devices, the next term that you have to consider is in terms of its direction, its distance and its speed. So for example, if you consider your mouse itself, so in which direction am I moving? So if I move this mouse towards the right corner of the screen, so it means that I have to move my hand also towards the right corner of the screen. So the direction of the mouse pointer as well as the direction of my hand, both the things should coordinate. So that thing must be considered for our calculations. Second thing is distance. So what is the distance the mouse has traveled just for this particular direction of movement? That is also important. It should not happen so that how wide my screen is, that much I have to move the mouse. That thing should not happen. And the speed of it, like if the distance and the speed is actually directly related. When you speak about distance, if I am moving my mouse in a very less amount of distance, it means that the mouse is moving really very speed. So if I increase the speed of my mouse and intake of that mouse, I can move really very fast and the distance of it is really not covered so much. So if I'm keeping my mouse at a normal speed, it is moving like this. If I keep it some more, if I increase the speed, then it might move really very fast. So the speed also exists between the click and all. If you have a single click, what you have to do? If you have a double click, whether the speed of the double click must be very small or very high. So those things also must be considered. So what is the relationship between the moving of an hand operated device and a corresponding pointer movement on the screen? So these things are being given with the three considerations, that is direction, distance and speed. So based on this, we can have a list of devices and we'll start learning about these list of devices. So today we'll be covering only 4. In the next class we'll cover the other 4. So there are totally 8 devices. So let us go with the first one, and that first one is called as trackball. So what is the meaning of a trackball? When you consider a trackball, it is a small ball. It is spherical in nature. It can rotate freely and it is free to rotate in all the direction, but it should be inside the socket. So ball, you have a plate, so on that plate a ball is placed, so ball is rotating around all the way. You can rotate it in any direction, but that ball should not leave that particular socket, so it is placed like that. So the ball is very specific about the direction. So if I move, so usually that ball is moved using a fingertips. Okay, so using a fingertips that ball is moved. So if you want to see the example of it, see here. So this is the ball that you have. If you move this ball, you can move this ball in all 360 directions, and these are the clicks available, like when you want to click on the right, left or bottom, top, these things are defined. So you can move this ball around, all around. You have to move this ball with the finger. So as and how you try to move the ball, the cursor on the screen is also moving all around. So this is what is our consideration. Okay, so now when we speak about these things, what is happening, like it can move in different directions. So there are machines wherein it can move horizontally and vertically, that's it, not everywhere. But there are machines who move in all directions, and we call that as a smooth movement. So direction and speed is translated into the cursor movement. Okay, whichever direction you are going, what speed you are going, using that you utilize it for the cursor movement. What is the advantage of having this? The advantage of having this is it is having a direct relationship between the hand and the pointer movement in terms of direction and speed. So when you consider direction and speed, in which direction your hand is moving and in what speed your hand is moving, in the same speed and direction your cursor is also moving. It does not obscure the vision of the screen. You need not touch your screen. So because your hand is in between, your screen is not obscured. You can visualize your screen really very clearly. So you can visualize your screen really very clearly. It's visible all fine. So there is no obscure for the vision. And third advantage is that does not require additional disk space if mounted on the keyboard. So if the mouse is mounted on the keyboard, then it will not use the additional disk space. But if it is outside also, it is quite so small that it will not require more amount of space. It comes with certain disadvantages also. The disadvantages are that like movement is indirect in a plane different from the screen. So you are directly not touching your screen or pointing your screen. So whatever movements of a device you have, we can consider it as indirect and not direct. Second disadvantage is that no direct relationship exists between hand and the pointer movement in terms of distance. I don't say that like the distance I travel on the ball is same as that of the distance I travel on the screen. So they are also different. It sometimes is a disadvantage also. Next is it requires a degree of eye and hand coordination. So if you are not a well-versed user of it, uh, it might create a problem. It's something like a mouse that if the person who is using a mouse for a very long time, he will be really very used to it and he can go everywhere he wants and click on anywhere he is interested in. But if the person is quite naive to the mouse, how does he feel when we started newly with the mouse? How did we feel? The same way you will face the problem for the trackball also. Next disadvantage that we have is requires hand to be removed from the keyboard keys. So if you are using keyboard, maybe you have to leave the keyboard and come to the mouse. So come to the trackball. That one disadvantage is there. It requires different hand movements. So you should be capable of moving your fingers really very smooth and uh, quite really properly. So otherwise you cannot move the trackball, right? So next is it requires hand to be removed from the keyboard if it is not mounted on your keyboard, only then. Okay, so it will require some additional desk space. That is true. Maybe it is difficult to control sometimes because if you are not a well-versed user, you cannot control it. It may fatigue to use over extended time. So if you are extending your time of work, it may be fatiguing for you. You might take some like you will feel tiresome. Okay, so when you consider these both the kinds are of a trackball only. So this is the newest part that we have, and this is the older one picture. We have certain improvements in this also. Okay, so this is how a trackball is. Let us go to the next device, and next device is called as joystick. Okay, I suppose very many people are very familiar with the joystick because joysticks are used for your video games, right? So what is a joystick? When you consider a joystick, it is a stick or a bat shaped device anchored at the bottom. So you have fixed something at the bottom, you have a stick that is coming out and you can move that. It is usually variable in size, and you have smaller ones being operated by fingers and larger ones require the whole hand. So if you want the complete hand also, you can hold it and drag it. It is something like a gearbox that you have in your vehicles. So you have a lengthier one. If you it is a lengthier one, you hold it in your hand and you drag it. But if it is smaller one, then you have to move it using a finger. Okay, so we'll see the examples of these two things that so that you can understand. We'll just go through the characteristics and then go to the picture. Okay, so the next thing is that variable in cursor direction movement method. I mean, you may have a variation in the cursor direction also. Like if you are pushing your joystick forward, maybe it may go forward, or the programming of it can be changed also. You have to force the joystick respond to the pressure, movable ones respond to the movement. So whichever pressure you're putting on, so in the direction of your pressure itself, in the direction of the movement of your hand, in the same direction your cursor also should move. Okay, so variable in the degree of movement should be allowed from horizontal, vertical, onto the continuous one. So if you have a joystick, for example, if we see here, so these two are the variations present in the joystick. So this is the joystick. The first joystick is like you can use the complete hand in that, and the second one is the joystick wherein you use it via fingers. Okay, you have a very small movement. These two things you can see here. Like so when you consider this joystick, if you push it forward using a hand, then you have a mouse pointer which is moving forward. Okay, so if you are bringing it back, so it may move backward. So that's the reason that we make use of these things in the games especially. Okay, now these kinds of joysticks, sometimes it may so happen that it can either go front or it can go back or left or right. you may not be capable of giving it all 360 degrees turn. So if you are capable of giving that, then we call it as it is really running very smooth and continuous. So that, I mean, giving that privilege is also possible, but it depends on whether it is required for that application or not. Okay, so let us see whether it is advantageous or disadvantageous. Definitely it has certain advantages as well as certain disadvantages. First advantage is that it is a direct relationship between hand and pointer movement in terms of direction. So in the way you push, it has to move. Okay, it does not obscure your vision of screen because you're not touching your screen. Your hand is not in between you and your eyesight and screen, so you are not covering any part of the screen. So it does not require additional disk space if mounted on the keyboard. It will not be in need of more disk space if it is present in the keyboard itself or on the keyboard itself, sorry. So you have certain disadvantages also. First disadvantage is that the movement is indirect in the plane different from the screen. Okay, your screen is at a different place and your joystick is at a different place, so definitely you have an indirect connection between them. They are not directly placed on the screen, so whatever movements are there, the movements are happening on the desktop and not on the screen. Okay, so indirect relationship between hand and pointer in terms of speed and distance. Definitely in terms of speed and distance, your hand will be doing one thing. Maybe if you pressure more, your distance covered may be less also, that is also there. Next is it requires a degree of eye and hand coordination. So I should be a well-versed user. Where my eye moves, my hand also must move. The problem that you may have with the mouse will and trackball, the same thing you may have with the joystick also. So it requires the hand to be removed from the keyboard as like your joystick, but at the condition that if it is not mounted on the keyboard. It requires different hand movements to be used in different directions. Whatever you use in those movements must be like you should be capable of moving it in different directions. Next is that it requires additional desk space if it is not on the keyboard. That the if it is on the keyboard, it is an advantage. If it is not on the keyboard, it may take some amount of space, but not too much, but it takes. Maybe fatiguing to overuse it because you have to put some pressure onto it, so you might feel tired if you are using it really very much. And it may be slow as well as inaccurate sometimes. Okay, so that is the reason that they are used at very many kinds of games and not at a serious issues. So this is how a joystick is. Okay, so the main utilization of joystick is at your video games only. They're mostly used over there. So this is one more kind. So first what we learned is we learned about trackball. So second device that we learned is about joystick. We have a third device and that is called as graphic table. Okay, so what is a graphic table? How does it operate? When you consider a graphic table, it operates using the pressure, the heat, the light, and the light block sensitive horizontal surfaces that lie on the desktop or the keyboard. So you have a rectangular pack wherein it can sense the pressure, it may sense heat, it may sense a light, or it may sense something which is a kind of a blockage. So it is that is a light blockage. So it can be operated with either fingers or it can be operated with a light pen or objects like stylus or pencil. So that is called as a graphic tablet. You might have seen a tablet, that is very common. So in that, when you are using a stylus or a pen, using that or maybe your fingers also, it is not exactly a touchpad that we are speaking about. That is a touch screen. We are not speaking about touch screen. Touch screen is very sensitive, but this is just a tablet that we are speaking about. So pointer imitates the movement on the tablet. So if you have that stylus and you drag around everywhere, it will move, but with the finger it is not possible. If you want to see how the graphic tablet is, this is a graphic tablet. So I select something and I draw something over here. It's possible for us to draw anything. But if you there is a very slight difference between a touchscreen and a graphic tablet. So touchscreen does not utilize such kind of uh, uh, pens or something. You can make use of stylus pens, but it is not compulsory for you guys. If you can, it is not meant for moving anything. It is not meant for drawing anything, correct. It is like kind of a selection, but this one you can make use of select drawing also. So these kinds of tablets are mainly utilized for the sake of sketching something, so that you can select a color and draw something. So there we are using that. What is the advantage of having it is that it has a direct relationship between the touch movements in the direction you move it. In the same direction, this on the screen also it will be, sorry, on the desktop also it will be moving in the same direction, and the pointer movements in terms of direction, distance, as well as speed, almost everything is coordinating over here. It is more comfortable horizontal operating plane. I mean, you can comfortably, like, you can just feel that you are writing with pen, correct. So that feeling is makes a person or a user really very comfortable, really very comfortable, correct. So this is what is the advantage that it has. And the third advantage is that it does not obscure the vision of the screen. It will never, like, as your device is outside the screen, it will not obscure your vision, correct. So that these are the three advantage of using a graphic tablet. Okay, there are certain disadvantages also. The disadvantages are that movement is indirect in a plane different from the screen. So screen is different, desktop is different, device is different. On the device, whatever you operate, it is getting replicated onto the desktop and not onto the screen. So we call it as indirect. Relationship is direct, but it is an indirect device. Okay. Second is that it requires hand to be removed from the keyboard. And third is that it requires different hand movements to be utilized. You have to change your hand directions also, correct. Fourth is that it requires additional desk space. It definitely requires additional desk space because this thing cannot be imbibed onto a keyboard. Okay, it cannot be kept onto a keyboard. Fingers may be too large for accuracy with the small objects. So if you are using finger as your point, then you will have less amount of accuracy. If you see that in the diagram itself, like if I use this for sketching, like when you sketch it, you may have to have a very thin line, correct. So if at different instances you may have to have thick line, so you can control that via the stylus pen. But if you consider your hand, you may have a same sized one, or maybe that you will not reach the exact point. That is not possible, correct. So there are certain disadvantages also. Okay, so this is how a graphic tablet is. Okay, so let us go through the fourth option or fourth kind of a device, and that's called as touch screen. So when you consider a touch screen, you have a, I mean, I suppose everyone is very much familiar with the touch screen. So touch screen, it is a special surface on the screen which is very sensitive to fingers or stylus that can be touched, correct. So your screen surface is very much sensitive. What is the advantage of having a touch screen? Touch screen is direct relationship between hand pointer location in terms of distance, direction, as well as speed. If everything is directed to each other, and movement is direct in the same plane as that of the screen. So you are using the same screen. It is not indirect movement. Your device is not outside the screen, it is inside the screen. So what is touched on the screen, that is touched on the desktop. That is what is the formula behind your touch screen, correct. Third thing is that it requires no additional disk space. Definitely you will not have additional disk space. It is because the device is not outside the machine, it is inside the machine. Third advantage is that it stands up well in a high use environment. If you want to really have too much of usage and all, so this touch screen is a better one because it is not so fatiguing as that of others, but it may create a problem, but it is not that tiresome. Okay, obviously if it is a machine, when it is coming with disadvantages, it will come with the disadvantages also. What are the disadvantages? Finger may obscure the part of the screen, the where you touch, that's on that part your finger will just cover up whatever is there or present on that particular screen, correct? So it will obscure the visual part of that screen. Next thing is that finger may be too large for accuracy with small objects. So if your object is really very small, maybe you may have to increase your screen or maximize your size of the screen, and you just click on this. So that thing that you may have to apply. That is kind of a disadvantage that you have. Third one is that it requires moving the hand far from the keyboard to use. So obviously if you have a touch screen onto your laptop, you have to avoid your keyboard and you have to touch your screen. So you have to remove your hands from your keyboard. Next is that it is very fatiguing to use for an extended period of time. So if you consider your phone, maybe you may not feel so much of tired, but if you consider your laptop, when you leave your keys and you go and touch the screen every time, if you're overworking, maybe you may feel tired in touching your screen or doing your work. You will feel that fatigue. It may soil or damage the screen. So your screen usually gets dusted. It is very common, correct? So so you have to clean your touch screen very often, one thing. And if you have that dusting onto the screen and you use that screen on and on the same way that you have, then I suppose you may damage your screen also. Like I have some mud particles onto my screen and I touch that screen without cleaning it, maybe that I will spoil my screen really very soon. Right? So there are disadvantages with that. But there are certain guidelines to have the touchscreen. So if you are involving touchscreen onto your application, then you have to follow these guidelines. The point is that your screen object should be at least 3/4 inch by 3/4 inch in size. So too small will create a problem. So at least 3/4 inch by 3/4 inch size objects must be present so that you can have selection. Next is object separation should be at least 1 by 8 inch. Okay, so one object must be separated from the other object by at least 1 by 8 inch, not less than that. Next is it should provide visual feedback in response to the activation. Auditory feedback may also be appropriate. Okay, the person should understand that he has selected something. So that kind of a visual response after touching that screen must be given. If that is not given, then maybe that he cannot decide what is actually happening. So to have that, like you have to provide a response for that kind of a feedback. So if you want to give an auditory feedback, even that is good. Okay. Fourth thing is that when the consequences are destructive, it requires confirmation after selection to eliminate inadvertent selections. So if the consequence, that it means that you have a destructive selection, that time it is better that like you can touch on your screen anywhere, maybe purposefully or maybe by mistake. So if you have by mistake clicked on delete, so you should have some confirmation message saying that whether you want to delete that application or not. So that thing becomes a must. So you should have an confirmation required for any kind of a selection. That is better. So if you are just opening it, that is not a problem. But if you are deleting it, that might create a problem because you may lose anything. Correct. So that is what is preferred to have. And final guideline that you have to follow if you are trying to imbibe the touchscreen technology into the application, then you have to provide an instructional invitation to begin the using. So it is better that you instruct for the invitation saying that you can use hands-on. Okay. So these are the guidelines that you have to remember if you want to involve your touchscreen into that. If you want to see the example of it, this is what is the example of it, correct? So you can have a touch screen, you select on something, that gets selected and opened up. Okay, so what we have learned today is that you may have a direct device or an indirect device. We are trying to learn device based controls. The devices can be direct or indirect. So direct is in the sense, if you are trying to place directly on the screen, then it is direct, otherwise it is indirect. You have four kinds of devices that you have learned. They are trackball, a joystick, a graphic table, and a touch screen. So there are some other devices also, like light pen, or you can have voice, your mouse, or a keyboard. So that thing will be covering in the next class. Okay, thank you.